Hey there, this is Dean Odell with Seven Gables Real Estate in the Odell Group, and we are having a special Tustin Talks today because something momentous has just happened that is going to change the way real estate's transacted, and it's different from what we've been doing the last 100 years. So we're going to talk about that right now, and with me I have April. April
Hello.
Is one of our agents and just happens to be my sister as well. I know people say, God, I got to meet April, your wife. No.
Daughter.
I got to meet April, your daughter. No. Sister. That's my sister. Okay. And she is a great agent. So I want to talk to her about, and you, the new NAR settlement that just took place and just started officially this week.
We're in the thick of it. I'm glad you invited me.
Yes. So April and I had an appointment today where we actually had to address this issue, and I said, we should just do this on camera.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this was my first listing agreement where the sellers came to us very confused. There's all kinds of information out there.
Okay.
So we had to break it down for them, and they're not only sellers, but they're going to be future buyers too. So they really had to understand it.
Okay. So in short, what's happening here in the real estate industry is they are decoupling the compensation that is paid in a transaction between the buyer and the seller. Traditionally, the seller paid this on behalf of the buyer all the time, okay? And then what happened was the buyer started saying, well, why is this seller paying a commission to my buyer's agent when I don't have anything to do with that or say with that? Is that really in my best interest? How much is he getting paid? All this sort of stuff. The industry wanted more transparency over that, and we're really glad they've done this now, because now we get the opportunity to talk to our buyers and present to them and make them understand the value that we can bring as buyer's agents.
Right.
And just like you guys have listened to us come out and talk to you in the past about what we can bring value-wise as a seller, now we get to talk to you about that as a buyer. So April, why don't you talk a little bit about how things went today?
Okay, it went great. We had a seller who came to us wanting to get their house on the market, trying to figure out whether they need to sell the house before they buy. I've been showing them property for a while now, and we explained the differences that are happening and what they need to take into account as a seller before they sign the listing agreement. So before, like you said, it was broker to broker compensation. Now when we decide on their listing agreement, we talk about the fee that we as their listing agents are going to be paid, and then we give them a heads up what to expect when we start to receive offers on their property. And that's going to look different now, because buyer's agents very likely are going to be including in their offer what's called a concession, and that's going to be what they hope will be their compensation. It's something they've already agreed upon with their buyer and the buyer rep agreement. So
there's different ways this compensation could be paid, but the reality is it is for the buyer to negotiate with their agent what that dollar figure is going to be and how it's going to be paid. And then if they want the seller to pay that on their behalf, they can ask for that. Gone are the days, though, that you're going to be able to look in the MLS and see what's being offered for compensation to an agent. That has been completely changed because there is no compensation to an agent, okay? That is not being offered.
That's true. Yeah.
But we don't see things changing too much in terms of the way things are probably going to happen. So,
like, why fix what isn't broken? Sellers have been netting year over year an incredible amount for their home.
Right.
And all that time, whatever the buyer has paid for the home, that compensation for the buyer's agent came out of that price. So when you go ahead and you review the comps, if you're a seller and you're about to be getting listed, when you review the comps, that price that you're comparing your home to for the neighbor who sold last month or 2 months ago, that included the compensation that they gave the buyer's agent.
Right.
And why disincentivize the largest group that's going to bring maximum exposure to your listing, which is the realtors and the buyers you want to incentivize too.
Correct.
Yeah. And before you write the offer, you need your buyer rep agreement.
That's right.
Yeah.
An offer cannot even be presented without a buyer rep agreement, and you're not even supposed to see a house without a buyer rep agreement, okay? So there's going to be different buyer rep agreements out there. There's going to be, we call it the test drive, right? Or dating, you're going to come see a couple of houses, see if you like the way that we do business. Give us a chance to talk to you about exclusively working and what we can do better than our competition to help you find a house
Yeah, the value that a buyer's agent brings. We give the information out there that you see on Zillow and Redfin. So what am I as a buyer's agent bringing to the table?
Right.
So then we explain that to the buyers.
Yeah. Anything that you can see online, that's obvious, right? So we were just reviewing documents the other day, and I was blown away, because when you deal with it on a day-to-day basis, you really don't think about it.
So much paperwork.
There is literally like 100 pages of paperwork in a transaction from start to finish. I mean, for someone not to employ the right people to handle a transaction with them, you know what they say, he who represents himself has a fool for a client, right? So you don't want to try to do that. That's for darn sure. You want to seek out the best representation you can, and we feel very confident that we can do that for people and explain to them why we're the best.
Yeah. Well, I this year I would say half of my transactions have been right down the middle, pretty much, right? Listings and buyers.
Correct.
So that's the benefit I think that we bring to a lot of people too, is we are listing agents and we're also buyer's agents. So when we're wearing one of those hats, we know how to help our client and their offer shine or their listing shine, because we've been on both sides.
Right. We also have years and years of past clients in the area. We have networking that's ridiculous, because we have, multiple people on this team that all live in the area. So generally we know about what's going to happen before it happens.
Yeah. So, we like to network with other agents. Yeah. We all do business together.
We do.
So we all talk a lot.
And we work together on even off-market listings. Sure. You take a company like ours, 600 agents, there's 20 to 30 listings coming out every single week that we know about, probably a week to a month before they're ever going to hit the market, know? So that's the kind of representation you want for you. Somebody that can bring something to the table that other people can't, as well as the experience behind it.
Right. So it's going to be an interesting time.
Yes.
And the new rules are the new rules. This is the way it is. We just have to embrace it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we have to explain it carefully to our clients.
It's funny, because you hear people complaining about it and moaning, and it's, you know what? Hey, when there was COVID, everybody had to sign a form before they went into the house, right? Now, there's buyer representation forms, okay? I mean, it's not that different. And by the way, anybody who's watching this or understands commercial real estate understands that this is the way they've been doing business forever, okay? So it's just made its way to residential real estate. So if you have questions about it and you don't understand what the heck we're talking about on this video, go ahead and reach out to us and give us a call.
Absolutely.
You got anything else, April?
No, that's it. We're looking forward to a great rest of the year.
All right.
Exciting.
All right. We'll see you out there. Thanks for tuning in.